So, is this VR rig thing gonna be a go, or is soldering going to stop me right from the beginning? Hello virtual dreamers, Gregory here, and welcome to the Prologue, a weekly series of videos where I document my activities, track my stats, and complete quests, all for the sake of creating my dream virtual reality system, which will let me explore the virtual world without restraints. A week's worth of progress has already gone by, everyone, so I'd say it's about as good a time as any to save my game and make sure that we can keep all of this well documented now. So, this is the prologue for the week of October 13th through to October 19th. To begin this week, we really have to address my health issues before anything else. Basically from the very beginning of this week, I was sick. Initially, not so badly, but by around Sunday, I was feeling very, very weak. And I actually had to miss out on quite a few things on Monday and Tuesday just to recover. It was honestly kind of terrible. It was a struggle to even go to my computer for more than an hour or two at a time. I would basically just go between my computer, back to my bed, to the computer, back to my bed, and it was very unpleasant. So yeah, it wasn't a very good time at all, and it really hampered my ability to get a lot of the things done that I wanted to. Specifically, game development was very far behind as a result of this. I did have the intentions of just doing some basic little things like props and stuff like that, but I feel that it's actually gotten a little out of hand now, so I really have to take my time and just get to the crunch to get things done. I might have to make some cuts here and there because the target date for this game's release is December of this year at some point, preferably towards the middle. So yeah, I don't exactly have a whole lot of time here, so just gotta do what I can, guys. The goal behind this project is not to make the greatest game. Honestly, it's not even really to make a great game, it's just to make a video game that I feel that I poured a significant amount of my time, effort, and ability into before I start moving forward to other things in the future that are more specialized and specific. So basically just get a video game done however you can. If that ends up being a one-room platformer with bad collision, then so be it. Engineering-wise though, we did manage to get quite a bit more done than I was expecting, to be honest. My electronics class has been really putting out the support here for the past few weeks and has really helped me out in just learning some more important fundamentals of how electronics works. Even though it is still based on some of the fundamental things that I learned in Physics 2 and Physics 1, it's not exactly the same thing to just kind of brush over it like you do in physics versus the in-depth, just straight-on tackling this specific item in depth that you have to do for electronics. So it's a very well appreciated thing, in particular because we do go over some skills that I have to use right now. As an example, I did the first soldering I ever did in that electronics course. I've had the things and parts necessary to solder for a while now, but it managed to get me just over that hump inside of class to start doing it there, which ultimately resulted in my first soldering session here at home. And the results of that have been fairly positive, I'd say, but I'll get into that a little bit more once we go into the quest results. I didn't really mention this during the earlier health session, but I didn't exactly get to do any workouts at all this week. Not that I really could have if I wanted to be honest. Even up until Thursday of this past week, I was still fairly weak and wasn't capable of doing the things that I wanted to. Wednesday in particular made me realize exactly how bad I was because Monday and Tuesday I just didn't bother. But Wednesday I actually went to work and the feeling of having things that I used to be able to do with ease, like lifting up 10-15 pound boxes, which to anybody who knows what 10 or 15 pounds is, that's nothing, was actually a struggle, and 40 pounds was actually almost more than I could bear. And there are these particular toilet bowl things that I have to lift at work that are around 50 pounds that I actually had to request help on. It was utterly humiliating in a pride sense. So yeah, just a quick reminder, no matter how strong you may get, or well, strong you may get, illness will completely and utterly mess you up. So yeah, I didn't want to bother trying to make myself worse, so yep, just took as much resting as I could and focused on recovery more than anything else. Hopefully next week I'll have a chance to get back into the swing of things. As for my Japanese, we're still on another good streak of 7 days, 7 study sessions. Although the study sessions weren't exactly perfect on each of those 7 days. For the first 4 or 5 days of the week I was actually pretty bad, so the last 2 days I did everything I possibly could to just really hammer in on the material that I did on the prior days, just to make sure that it wasn't just completely slipping through the cracks in my head. I mean, I did manage to go over all the kanji that was necessary on the days that were needed, so that was pretty well appreciated. For reference, the kanji in point were the kanji 399 all the way through to 412 on the Kyoiku kanji list. I won't name all of them, but I'll put up a little chart right at this point, just so you guys can have an idea of what that is if you don't want to look up the particular Kyoiku page. As for grammar, I actually kept on reviewing on conditionals. I started doing that last week actually, but I felt that I really wanted to go into it more this week, in particular because the chapter that came up after the conditionals and expressing necessity is expressing desire, and I've actually looked into that for quite a while now, so I already have experience with one, but not as much experience with the other, so I hope you can understand why I might have put a little bit more emphasis on the thing that's a little bit more new to me. In particular, for anybody wondering the aspects of conditionals using things like to, nara, the ba form, and the tara form in order to get the expression of conditionals across. So yeah, still doing a lot more reviewing on that, but it is nice just to be familiar with it and to see it pop up from time to time in anime, just so I can kind of feel good that, hey, I saw and learned that thing and now it's popping up again, although that happens all the time nowadays, so maybe I'm just kind of stroking my own horn here, just feeling happy for the progress that has been made. Well then everyone, it's just time to review how the quest went this week. As you all know, the quest for the past week has been Virtual Reality Rig Principle Demonstration. The goal behind this quest is to just demonstrate to you guys what the actual way my virtual reality rig will work in a practical sense will be using some of the basic equipment that I have available to me right now. In particular, I'm hoping to do this with a leg, but after my quick experiment that I did earlier this week, it didn't exactly turn out how I was intending for it to work, so I think I might have to do more troubleshooting down the line. But all in all, I think it turned out pretty okay, just because I managed to get the cable shield set up. I mentioned it during the earlier engineering section, but I did do some soldering this week. I first began by practicing a little bit by just trying to solder a wire a few times, and it worked out okay, so I decided to move on to the cable shields. I was initially kind of hesitant on doing this just because it's electronics and you don't want to mess things up, and soldering can very quickly mess up electronics, guys. We're talking about working with temperatures here well in excess of 300 degrees Celsius, which can more than easily destroy almost anything that you put against it that isn't made out of solid metal. And these things aren't exactly able to handle heat all that well, as you can imagine, based on the way computer systems react. So yeah, I wanted to be careful, and honestly, it turned out okay, I'd say. I made a mistake straight up from the beginning where I accidentally soldered some of the pin leads that I was using, which have two sides where pins come out. Yeah, I put them on the wrong side, so yeah, that was kind of bothersome. And then they have two holes next to each other, so I could kind of go with the other ones, but I wound up doing that, and then I didn't really like how it fit onto the shield, so then I took that off, and then I tried to remove the solder, but I don't have any desoldering equipment, so that didn't turn out very well. And in the end, it kind of worked. I made some kind of bungled, ugly looking thing, and it's already kind of falling apart, but it worked more or less. The solder connection managed to function, and again, it's a shield, so it's not the most expensive component in the system. It's like $5 really. But I don't really like to mess things up here, and I ordered a bunch of desoldering equipment just so I can fix that up later to see whether or not I can salvage the parts. So expect me to use a soldering wick as well as a soldering sucker or solder sucker or whatever you want to call those things. It's like a vacuum tube where you kind of like press it down, and if you press a button, it releases the pressure, which immediately makes it suck everything at the point end, which you're supposed to time with the soldering mechanism. So going to be an interesting experience there, but it did give me a bit more confidence with my soldering, and it also taught me a little bit more about the experience. And everybody, sometimes you aren't going to be able to do things perfectly. As a matter of fact, that'll be most of the time, not ever. And the reality of that is that you have to accept that at some point you're going to suck or you're going to do something badly. At the very least, that's the way I look at things. So if you're going to suck, at the very least make sure that you do it in a way that you are going to learn and improve, because you got to start from somewhere. And I think that if I don't have the courage to suck at some point, I won't ever be able to have the courage necessary to handle being great, because there's a lot of responsibility on both ends, everybody. So yeah, soldering went okay. I'm glad that I did it, and I'm hoping to be able to do it much more consistently in the future and with better results. Oh, and I decided to get some more solder of a different variety. Right now, the solder I'm working with is about 0.7 millimeters in size or diameter. And while that's kind of okay, I felt that for the electronics I was working with, it was a little thick. So I tried to get something a little bit smaller. And the smallest thing I managed to get on Amazon on quick notice was about 0.5 millimeters or a little bit less, actually. So yeah, that should hopefully give me a little bit more control over how much solder gets delivered into the system, and will still allow me to work with the relatively low temperatures of 330, 350 degrees instead of going any higher for these electronics, because again, you can easily damage electronics with heat, so if I accidentally contact the board, it can permanently damage something. So hopefully I won't have to break apart every time soon, although it's going to be inevitable since the kind of connection that we're doing here of a cable shield connected to the specific electrode-myogram that we're using. Yeah, we're probably going to have well over 30, if not 60 of those things connected to my body simultaneously, which means that I'm going to have about around 192 connections by the time we're done, just because 64 connections multiplied by 3 wires connected to each one of those, so 192. Yeah, that's a lot of wiring all over and a lot of soldering. So yeah, better start practicing and getting good soon, because yeah, I'm gonna need that a lot, and that's not even mentioning all the other things that are gonna be done for this VR rig. Oh man, it's gonna be so much work. Well then everyone, to sum up the results of this week, we had 4 sessions of game development, 3 sessions of engineering, 7 sessions of Japanese studies, 0 sessions of exercise-workouts, and the results of the quest are still in progress, as was expected since I gave myself the extra week. Let's hope that things turn out well and that we can have this quest nice and cleared soon. Well then everyone, that just about does it for me, but you all had a quest to be completing as well. Your quest, joining the Discord, called for you guys to become a member of the new Discord server that I've opened up for the channel, as well as just general virtual reality discussions and other aspects of using technology to fulfill our wildest dreams. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys have utterly blown away all of my expectations. I was expecting quite a few of you, maybe in the maybe 20s or 30s, but we're well over that, everyone. So thank you very much for becoming a member of the Discord server right here on the ground level. I have the expectation that this is going to grow even bigger in the future, and that we're gonna become a nice, big, bustling community filled with different projects going on, discussions being had, and just generally sharing in the joy of the life that we exist in, or you can use technology to create imaginative solutions to so many problems that exist in our day-to-day lives. So yeah, everyone, thank you very much for joining in on the ground level. I cannot wait to join you all at the top of the Ruby Palace with the wind at our backs and the open sky before us. Well then, everybody, yeah, I do have to do shout-outs here, so yeah, got my phone in one hand, water bottle on the other, so yeah, everybody, we're doing this. Get ready for your shoutouts. Alright, everybody, I'm just gonna try to list off all the people who have joined the server aside from myself, so yeah. First, we have Blast, Can't Stop Matt, The Next One, DJ Programmer, Exerson, Illit, Inferno-kun, Laith, Mastermind 6, Owen, MF, Gamazoo, Seer, Shiruni, Smash Jumper Z, SSJ Daniel SSJ, Sweets, Crossed Out Savess, That Tech Guy, Wuyubox 2, Z. ZST.U, 3 Bloom, Kagumo, A Simple Boy, Astral, Big Boy Meme, Bunsen, Cameron for Anime, Cybercrime, Elgran, Fenric, Geekon, Gray, Grimble, Haraxter, It's Wayne, Gemma Cross, Kaito. We have 3 Kaitos. Yep, that's the works. Katie Gray X3, Luix, LG, Mako T, Mark Kirigaya, Output, PRNG Hats 11, Raiden, Rain, Sheriff, Shiro VR, Skinner 281203, Slarvigate, SPK, Spookaroto, Supremacy K, Techno Wizard, The Ham Shazam, and Zezix. How many people was that again? I don't think I wanted to bother to count. What does this thing say? 37 offline, 21 online. And if we don't count me, 37 plus 21, that's 58 of you. Holy mackerel, there are quite a few of you already. Can you imagine what it would have been like if all 10,000 of the people subscribed to this channel were on there? I think I might have gone nuts. But I guess I'm going to have to build this thing up with all the rest of you so that whenever we do eventually reach that many people, we're able to handle things in an appropriate manner. Remember, you're on the ground floor before everyone else, so you can consider yourselves the frontliners for this project. And trust me, there's going to be a lot more to this community than just discussions. I've got a project in mind that I want to get everyone involved in. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. That means you. So yeah, whether or not you want to contribute art, whether or not you're going to playtest, or whether or not you just want to share the word, I expect all of you guys to help out on this endeavor. Because this is going to be a very big project, and I cannot wait to share the details with you once we're ready to go. So yeah, everybody, thank you very much for being here on the ground level, and congratulations to all of you for clearing our quest. This is the most clears that we've had for any quest, barring maybe the first one, where all I asked you to do was follow along. But here we've got numbers and names, so congratulations to all of you for clearing the quest. You've really done a heck of a job here. Well then everybody, that just about does it for the coverage of last week. We can take away that little saving icon now. And yeah, it's time for all of you guys to receive your quest for the next week, since my quest is already pretty much set. Your quest for the week of October 20th through to October 26th will be... Hey, I got that reference too. Everyone, there is an anime that released earlier this year that made a reference to a Vocaloid song that is fairly popular. I will not say what the song is, nor will I say what the name of the anime is. You have to provide both of those things first in your comment in order to receive the shout out for next week, as well as a sketch of the character of your choosing. Beyond the hints that I've just given, there are 2 more hints that it will provide you all, and those are that I have tweeted about the particular reference that occurred in the past. So if you're following me on Twitter, you're pretty much already ahead of the game and might even already know the answer. However, I will also give you guys a particular line that was said within the song. So for those of you who might be able to catch it from the way I enunciate it, just keep a good ear out right now. Tokete shimai so. And they did it in that kind of a tone too, so for anybody who managed to get it through those things, go down in the comment section and put in the 2 things that I asked for, the song and the anime. You have to have both in order to clear the quest and get the prize. Well then everybody, that would be where I'd stop, but there is one more thing I want to mention since we do have another sketch spot for this week. In the past, some of you have expressed a desire to be able to help out the channel in a means that goes beyond the usual just being subscribed, liking, and commenting, as well as sharing the videos. And I've been hesitant to do so in the past, but I feel that by rejecting those offers for help in the past that I haven't been doing right by all of you. So I want to give you guys several opportunities and ways in which you guys can assist me and the channel going forward. Okay, I'm gonna pause right here. Everyone, the following portion of the video is going to be in reference to a video that I'm going to be discussing later. I'm just giving you guys a quick idea of what's going to be on that video, just so you guys can have a heads up as to what to expect whenever it pops up into your subscription feed or your notifications. So yeah, effectively I'm going to be releasing a video pretty soon that'll detail the way that you can help the channel out in a much more direct manner versus the usual subscribing, watching, sharing, and other things like that. This is not out of obligation, but it is a new way for you to help out the channel if you feel that you'd like to contribute to the things that have been happening on these efforts, or if you would just like to help out the internet in general, as you'll see with what I say in the next few lines. So, yep, we're gonna unpause here. The contribution of assets in particular is something that is going to become necessary, but not for my own aspects or projects or things like that. I actually want to kind of keep my game development career a little separate from the things I do on YouTube to a certain extent. I mention them as I'm doing game development right now and stuff like that with the points tracking, but I also don't want to just make it a factor of this YouTube channel being advertising purely for my games. So I have a particular place where I want you guys to direct that effort, but it's not ready yet. So if you really want to be able to contribute more to this project in the future, create your assets, but don't give them to me. Open source them and make them completely available to all the internet, CC0, or with whatever contribution method that you feel will allow it to be used in open source projects. Because everybody, the project that I have in mind will be fully and utterly open source with no ownership. So if you do contribute to it, you will be doing so under the assumption that your work will be used by others, and that you will take either no credit for it or receive only the bare minimum credit for it. This is a sacrifice that has to be made for the nature of that project, but I feel that when you do that, it is giving opportunities to other people to grow and expand themselves in their own ways, which is one of the reasons why we're almost all here to begin with. YouTube began in that of itself as a method for people to share their expressions online for others to view basically for free, since we didn't have paid options back then. And I feel that people who have contributed assets for free have done an enormous help towards growing communities online from the very beginning. Whether it's everybody who can recognize Kevin MacLeod's music, or the same music he's using here, or the same stock images here, but that stuff is important because it gives people a voice and they might not have it, and another means of improving their own creations by using others. And since this project is going to be heavily open sourced and entirely based around the idea of contributing to a larger project and selflessly doing so for the greater good of larger efforts. But yeah, effectively, if you want to contribute early on, just contribute to everyone. Make your project or whatever you're going to contribute open source, and when the time comes, throw us a link, shoot it at us, just let us know, hey, this is free, you guys can use it, and help build this thing into something even bigger and even better. So yeah, that's one method that you can help in that regard until the final details of the project I have in mind are finally ready and set. The other big thing that is going to be mentioned in that video is commissions. As you guys know, I do drawy little things from time to time, and some of you have actually expressed some pretty positive liking of the drawings, and I've received positive feedback in the past. I've never really done commissions in the past, so I'm not exactly sure how to receive payments for that kind of stuff, but I feel that that's a very good way for you guys to be able to help me out directly while still getting something in return. I'm not a very big fan of something for nothing, and quote unquote. I mean, I know nobody ever just gives somebody money for nothing, but I do still kind of prefer this kind of method where everybody kind of gets something directly tangible out of whatever arrangement is going on, and I will be providing details in that upcoming video on how you will be able to contribute to me by purchasing or paying for commissions in the future. That way you manage to get a piece of art released into the world that you enjoy, and I get more money to sink into this virtual reality rig because, yeah, I did mention 64 electrodes, right? 64 multiplied by 40, you do the math on what my wallet is going to be telling me at that point. Well then everybody, that just about does it. This has been a pretty long prologue. Again, a huge thanks to everybody who joined the Discord server. It really meant a lot to me to see that so many of you were ready right out from the get-go to join in on the ground floor of this budding community. And I'm sorry for having such a long delay for this. I really should have started working on things like this a long time ago. But the past is in the past, and we have to go forward to an even greater future. After all, we've got like 4 years until the canonical release date of Sword Art Online. Remember, SAO released on 10/31/2022. That is Halloween, and that is coming up right now. So yeah, everybody, time's a ticking. We gotta get to work. So again, everybody, thank you very much for watching this video. Please remember to rate, comment, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and would like to keep up with the rest of this channel's efforts. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter if you want to get the most up-to-date what's going on with the channel and my other efforts, because I do tend to just quickly pop a little message in here and there in order to give you guys details. And for those of you who haven't joined the Discord server, link is down below in the description, and definitely join. That is going to be a place where all of us can kind of congregate and make conversation happen. Once we do get that big project started up, you'll be able to contribute and work around with other people from there as well. And it's also just a fun little place to have discussions. It would be lovely to have more people around for whenever Sword Art Online episodes release, or you want to talk about Ready Player One, or we just want to go on about how awesome VR can be. So yeah, everybody, thank you very much for watching this video. Till next time, my fellow adventurers and dreamers, this has been Gregory, logging out.